Well, last week, the man who created the K-Cup coffee pod admitted that he regretted his invention. These single-use pods are considered by some to be an environmental disaster, but there is an alternative. Joining us now is Victoria Gray. She is with Canterbury Coffee and has worked to develop a biodegradable version with OneCoffee. Thanks so much for joining us today, Victoria.
You're welcome.
All right, so this is an idea that I think a lot of people are receptive to. I mean, even the owner or the developer of the K-Cup himself coming out and saying that he'd wish that he hadn't done it. But how did you develop this?
Well, when we decided to get into the single-serve market, we knew that it was going to be something really popular. It's obviously grown and grown since then. But when we were looking at it a couple of years ago, we wanted to provide an alternative that wouldn't end up in the landfill. And at that time, the most popular version was the K-Cup, which was made of oil-based plastic and wasn't recyclable. So what we did is we started looking at other formats to see what we could find that would be a better alternative. And we found what we call a soft pod. It's not a hard plastic cup. It's a different format, a little unusual looking, but as a result, we've been able to create a biodegradable alternative. When we first launched, we were 90% biodegradable, and late last year, we upped that to 99%, and we'll be 100% within the next 6 months.
How difficult was it to develop this and I guess try and create something that is going to work in existing machines?
It's tricky. It really requires manufacturers coming up with materials that we can use, and then municipalities and people obviously doing their part as well. So with the GVRD increasing recently, the ability for people to actually go into green bins with food products and food waste, that's making it easier. And we've continued to push our suppliers and material manufacturers to come up with components that we can use that will work in production and still allow consumers to put it in their green bins.
So what is the actual material of these biodegradable coffee pods? What are they made of?
Well, the lid that we use now is 100% certified compostable, and it's a combination of materials, paper, and a few other biodegradable plastics. The plastic ring, which looks like plastic just to the average person, is actually made out of a biomass plastic, which means it's a renewable source that's used, not an oil-based plastic, and it is also 100% certified compostable. So the last little piece of our single-serve coffee is the filter mesh, and it's similar to a filter mesh you would use if you were brewing coffee in the old-fashioned way in a machine, and it's the last piece that we'll have a compostable version of in the next 6 months. At that point, our product will be 100% compostable.
All right. Now, considering the time and the effort that it took to develop this, are these types of pods going to cost more than the non-biodegradable ones?
You know what, that's the interesting thing. Our coffee is actually 100% fair trade, 100% organic, 99% biodegradable, and still it's priced similar to a Starbucks K-Cup. So you get all of this benefit for what you would pay for a Starbucks K-Cup, and ultimately throw it in your green bin instead of throwing it in a landfill.
How popular has the K-Cup market become?
It's hugely popular. There's estimates of about 40% of Canadians using it, on average about 10 a week. So you start multiplying that, you start looking globally, obviously North America wide. I think estimates have it about 10 billion of the K-Cups went into the landfill last year. And with these machines growing in popularity and people using them more and more frequently, of course that number is just going to grow.
All right. Now I understand these are now available for consumers to use?
Yes, they are. You can find them across BC in grocery stores and retailers such as Loblaws, Bilo, London Drugs. You look for them in either the natural organic section, if the store has that, or in the coffee section.
Do you think it's just a matter of time before this kind of becomes the common trend and you see other producers of coffee also coming up with a biodegradable version?
That's our hope. I mean, we went into this because we knew single serve was going to continue to grow. It's a convenient option, and people like convenience. They have busy lives. The faster, quicker, easier they can get something, the better. So we sort of knew where this was going to go, and we really felt we needed to do something to give consumers an option, so they could they didn't have to compromise. They get a great tasting cup of coffee. They don't feel bad. They're not creating waste that's going to last forever. And that's why OneCoffee was born. And that's our hope, is that it'll continue to grow and sales will continue and people will have a better option.
All right, that is Victoria Gray with OneCoffee joining us today. Victoria, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.